Hi everyone, I hope you had a great spring break. Today what we're going to do is we are going to solve some problems with angles. Now that you've worked on them a little while and practiced drawing with a protractor, we're going to look at what happens when we have an unknown that we need to figure out when we're using angles. So to do this, what I'm going to do is a couple of practice problems that I have found from the book to help you. The first one right here is actually from your book. It's on page 911, 911. And I'll read the problem out loud. It says, Rachel and Dean made a sign out of fabric like the one shown hanging in the school gymnasium. So this is the model. The blue piece has a 35-degree angle. The red piece is attached to the longest side of the blue piece. Together, the pieces form a right angle. What is the angle shown on the red piece? Well, this already tells me some important information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the problem 2 times. Now, I'm not going to read this 2 times right now to you, just to spare time. But the next step, if we remember our strategy for it, is to then look and to find our important information, our I in the right strategy. So some important information I have is that the blue piece has an angle of 35 degrees. I know that the red piece is attached, so I know what that kind of looks like. And together, the pieces form a right angle. Now, if you remember, a right angle is 90 degrees. So we know that together, both of these angles, so what they're saying is that this angle and this angle together equal 90 degrees. Now, how could we figure that out? One way is if we know that the total is 90 degrees, we could draw a 90-degree angle and then draw a 35-degree angle using a protractor. Or I could figure out about how much 35 degrees looks like. Then I would measure the other angle with a protractor. So that's one way of doing it. And if I measured that with a protractor, I could figure out the missing angle. Now, you do not have a protractor at home, so I have another way to do this. The other way is that we are going to use our variables to find our own known. So it says the 90 angle measure is the sum of 2 parts. So one angle is 35 degrees plus the angle that we don't know. So we need to give that angle that we don't know a letter to be our variable. I'm just going to pick R. So I'm going to say 35 degrees plus R is going to equal the total that we already know from our problem, which is 90 degrees. Once we do that, now what we're figuring out is, what is R? How do I figure that out? 35 plus what is 90 degrees? Or I could turn that into 90 degrees, take away my 35 degrees, is going to equal that missing angle, which is 55 degrees. So R is going to equal 55 degrees. I'm going to show you some examples on the other side that's going to help you a little bit with this. Let's start with this. This is what you're going to look like with your guided practice today. It's going to tell you that the combined angle measure is 90 degrees. So both of these together is going to equal 90 degrees. So I can say n plus 75 degrees equals 90 degrees. Now, some of you can do that in your head. You can say, if I count up from 75 by fives, how much more will it take me to get to 90? If you don't know and you need to find the difference, listen to that math word difference, you are going to take your total angle, this total angle right here, this N and this 75 together. You'll take away the 75 that you already know is there, and you will have 15 degrees left over. So N is going to equal those 15 degrees. So 15 degrees plus 75 degrees is 90 degrees. How about over here? How about if we have this and it says that together the combined angle measure is 130? I know that K plus 35 degrees equals, scoot this over so you can see, 130 degrees. How do I figure out K? Well, some of you guys could do that in your head. If you can't figure it out, you're going to need to figure out the difference between those two angles. Whenever you hear the word difference, I want you to think subtraction. You're going to take 130 degrees minus 35 degrees, and you're going to end up with 95 degrees. So K equals 95. Do I want to double check this? If I wanted to double check it, I would say 95 plus 35 equals 130 degrees. The last thing that you might see, and I'm going to actually show you it over here on just a blank piece of paper, is what you might see is you might see something that looks like this. So you might see two angles. I'm just going to draw this as an example. And you might see something like this. So you might see this and they might tell you that this is, let's say that looks like a little more than, well, 90 degrees would be here, a little more than half, so maybe we could say that's 55 degrees. And over here we say, that looks like a little more. I'm just guessing on this and putting an estimate. And saying this was 60 degrees. What they might ask you is, what is your total distance, those two angles together? That's pretty easy, right? You're going to add 60 degrees plus 55 degrees to get your unknown, your variable. So let's pretend that I had to put a variable in there. And I'm just going to make it up. My variable is going to be X. So 60 plus 55 is going to be X. When I add that together, that is going to be 60 plus 55, 5, 11, 115 degrees equals X. So the whole distance of both of those together is X, which equals 115 degrees. We've done this before with other problems and setting them up. So I don't think you're going to have tons of problems. If you've listened to this video, I'm going to have you, when you do your assignment today, I'm going to have you do half of the problems, which means you can pick if you want to do your problems that are the even number problems or the odd number problems. So either 1, 3, 5, 7, etc., or 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. to the end for both pages. So I will see you tomorrow. We'll have a Zoom meeting tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and I hope you have a great day.